What's up, everybody? Welcome to System Crafters Live. I'm David Wilson. We're back again with another Friday stream where we get together as a community and talk about whatever I did or did not do during this week, and this week is no exception. Can't tell if the video is a little bit off sync, but I guess we'll find out soon enough. Is the chat working? Can anybody say something in the chat to see if it's totally busted again? I think I saw a message come in just before I start everything up, but we'll see. While we're waiting for people to show up, I am going to go ahead and start the show notes operation here because I did not get that going beforehand. Let's see. There we go. Hey, alternate vet. And then October 10th. Looks busted. What's that mean? All right, so we got our stuff going on here. Let me go grab the code for the video as well. And there it is. Does something have a problem? Maybe the screen had a problem. Let me zoom in the text a little bit. Default text scale increase. A little notch there, maybe another notch. Ah, yes. Gotta love the latency of live streaming. So what's up, everybody? Nice to see you all. Thank you for being here today. Appreciate it. You know, I'm still like in the throes of a lot of work at my job, which I keep saying. Peter says Taylor Swift or David Will. Easy choice. Is Taylor Swift doing something today that is going to be drawing viewers away from System Crafters? Because that would be pretty interesting. But yes, the usual excuse. I've been busy with work, and I haven't really been doing a whole lot. I mean, I use Emacs every day, as I always say, but I haven't really been doing anything with Geeks. In fact, I end up using Mac OS most of the day, which is a pitiful thing to say, but it is what it is. I mean, I use Geeks on the other computer, but it's not really like, you know, heavy usage or anything. I'm not configuring my machine. I'm just using, you know, Emacs on the other machine for various reasons. But it's mostly Mac OS, so I'm in an interesting position right now because I don't really have a lot of reason to like learn new things aside from what's going on in the space that I work in. So this is why there has been a dearth of stream topics recently that are relevant. But today, what I would like to do is have a discussion about what kinds of things we might want to do going forward as a way to kind of put some purpose back into the Friday streams and find a new groove that actually works out pretty well for everybody. Alternate Vet says, is it time for Nix Darwin? Nah, I don't know. I mean, like, I don't do that much on the Mac aside from just use Emacs and write JavaScript code. So I don't need the other stuff. Like, I don't need to worry about using Nix on Mac OS, unless you're saying that maybe I should try to learn how to use Nix on Mac OS and do a stream or video on it. But I really do not want to pull up a MacBook on the stream. I feel like that would be I would probably get canceled for using a Mac on the stream, which I should, honestly, because it just doesn't seem like a good thing to do. If you haven't realized so far, I don't really like Mac OS. MacBook hardware is okay, but the Mac OS operating system can go to hell. All right, let me say hello to the people who are here so far. Excuse me. Also, since the last stream, I've been fighting off something, a cold, COVID, something. So my voice is a little bit rough as a result of that. Sorry for that. Okay, hello to Nakatani, Peter, Kreplak, Alternate Ved, Gun, No Namer. Let's see, Dave. Hey, Dave. Let's see, who else? Treve, hi, best friend, David. Yes, you're my best friend, Trev. You're my best friend. Is that the song from Queen? What is it? Who else? Jeff, Auntie. I feel like I missed a name in there somewhere. Oh, Elephant Ergo. All right, and over on the YouTube side, I see Chris, which is also Nakatani. Sorry, Chris, I doxed you. M0NE. I pressed by mistake on the notification, but Emacs rules. Well, probably he's not here anymore, but hello to you. Also, hello to Encoding, and also Alejandro. Did I see Alejandro? M0NE is still here. Encoding says, dude, why the F you only have a few views? I love your content. I met you for your Emacs YouTube series. Love you from Chile. Nice. Nice to see somebody from Chile here. Well, at least on the streams, I don't really get that many views because I'm not really doing anything relevant. So that's why. That's okay though. I don't really need it, okay? I'm not here to be a big YouTuber. I'm here because I enjoy streaming. And there are some insane people who have been coming here to the streams for years now. And I feel like a slight sense of obligation to continue to just be here and, you know, provide the usual comfort zone of random babbling and bumbling around with software and getting things wrong and not really ever accomplishing anything, but still somehow making it somewhat entertaining and maybe interesting or useful every now and then. So like there's something here. I think there's some value to what's happening here. But yes, it doesn't get many views. I mean, I'm not the Primeagen or anything, and I won't be because I'm not going to be going and talking about all the hot stuff or all the hot takes and everything else. Nakatani says, as long as you're having fun, yeah, I'm having fun. I wouldn't be coming back and doing this if I wasn't having fun. I enjoy doing this. I am a narcissist. Okay, I have to have myself on the screen. I have to be able to see myself on YouTube. Kidding. Why would I do that? I mean, I know some people do that, but not me. Trev says, I'm like pirate software. Why is that? Elephant Ergo says, quote from David System Crafters Wilson, I am here to make friends. Well, yes, I am here to make friends. I mean, what else would I be doing this for? Because I worked at Blizzard and made WoW. Yes, I worked at Blizzard. My dad got me the job there. I worked in the QA team. I worked on World of Warcraft and Diablo 3. Can't really do a good pirate software impression. My voice is not deep enough, okay? What are we seeing in here? Peter says, enjoying Tahoe. Are you talking about Taylor Swift? Let's see. Man, the chat is so behind the stream. Good enough, yes. I'm trying, okay? 7 out of 10, thank you. You're helping my self-esteem. So, macOS is incredibly mid. I would say something harsher than that, but I'll avoid doing that. Trev says, you'll get hate mail like when you started AI streaming. I didn't really get any hate mail for that. I didn't really get any hate comments for that either. But I felt it, you know. I could just feel the vibe in the universe. Hate coming my way for mentioning or showing AI, which makes sense. I mean, I'm not going to say that people shouldn't dislike AI or anything, but it's kind of a touchy subject, let's say. It's touchy. Peter says he's doing the substitution syntax to change mid to shit. Yes, okay. What else? Gun says, walking from scheme to Objective-C, there's no way in hell you're going to see me write an Objective-C. Peter says, 32 gigabytes for the calculator app. What is not to like on macOS? 32 gigabytes for the calculator app. I mean, the whole OS that comes with it, I guess. Elvin Ergo says, I'm on day 2 of emulated ARM compilation of a kernel so I can get Geeks on Pinebook Pro. Everyone wish me luck. I feel like Andrew Tropin has done this. Maybe not on a Pinebook Pro, but on a Pine phone. Hey, Tony. Thanks, man. Alejandro says, in a Geeks pull and a system reconfigure, my laptop's mouse pad stopped working. I rolled back and everything was working fine. Any idea what's going wrong? I wonder if it was a driver update inside of Linux kernel that caused it. These things happen sometimes. Hey, GMAS. GMAS says, just say you worked at Blizzard. Yes. I don't want to get in that kind of trouble, but I don't think I can really get in the same kind of trouble that Pirate Software got into because he was kind of a jerk. If you watch some of the videos that go into kind of his background, and I don't want to get into details, but kind of a questionable character, let's say. Let's see. Hello to Jaza and Edge Crusher 19. Nakatani asked Trev, did you wipe your hardcore dungeon group? I never did that, man. I never actually played WoW. Well, I played WoW, but I never got into like raids and stuff, which I don't really feel like I missed anything. Nakatani says the best was the Dr. K interview with him. It was hilarious. I didn't see a whole lot of that. I saw a little bit of it, I think. Wait, did he do more than one? Because I saw one that was like back before all the controversy happened. Maybe he did another one. Trev says Twitch is inline and YouTube lags super hard. But I guess that just goes to show you, go watch the stream on Twitch. Unfortunately. Alejandro says, I prefer an Abacus over Windows. Windows can be somewhat tolerable with WSL, but I still wouldn't bother trying to use it. Let's see. Well, it's not ported to PinePhone per se. It's just getting it to boot and work on PinePhone. Oh, really? Okay. Interesting. Auntie says, 5 years of stream. Congrats. That's a lot. Yeah, it is a lot. It's a lot. I'll talk about that a little bit. Oh, daylight savings? Is that happening right now? Where's it happening? In the US? I didn't even realize that it was going to be an issue. Like I said, I'm a little bit disconnected from what's happening in reality here. Kreplock, who's also Cow 2001, hello Cow, says, forgot the hot take saying that destroying computer games is great. What? I thought that the stop something games, stop, what was it called? I thought that he was behind that. All right. So, I think I'm caught up in the chat. We got some people here. That's great. Glad to see everyone. Thank you very much for being here today. Before we get into the main topic, we should talk about whatever is newsworthy. Is there any newsworthy things happening this week? Aside from the fact that I should mention that there is a donation drive for Geeks again. So Geeks Geese blog. There it is, right there. There's a fundraising campaign to sustain GNU Geeks. So if you are a GNU Geeks user or enthusiast or someone who at least appreciates what's happening there in the project, check out this blog post by Steve George, also known as Futurile. He has, some good blog posts and YouTube videos and stuff about geeks. Donate to Geeks. Basically, they're just setting up a fundraising campaign to pay for the costs of the infrastructure needed to provide binary builds for packages, and also like general testing and whatnot for packages that are being contributed to the project, which everybody uses on a daily basis. I mean, if you're using Geeks, you're definitely downloading binary builds of packages from the Geeks substitute servers, and that's a lot of bandwidth. It's also a lot of processing power. So if you want to help to sustain the Geeks project, definitely go and check out this page from the Geeks blog. And also there's a cool little flashy donate thing at the top that you can go at. They should have made this a link too. Ooh, wow, Geeks coins I can drag around. Clink, clink, clink. All right, donate now. Click the damn link. What's happening? Was this site written with GNU Geeks? Roll it back. Is it so? The site changed, and in my bleary delusion, I could not see that the actual page changed. Okay, so I'm yelling at it for no reason. I'm like an old man now. That's what 5 years of streaming will do to you. So anyway, go to the donate page and then donate to the project. I would recommend personally that you donate through the Geeks Foundation, because the people who, most of the people who are involved in the day-to-day operation of the Geeks Project are members of the Geeks Foundation, and high-ranking people there. So I would say that's probably the better place to donate. You can also donate through the Free Software Foundation if you want to. And remember, if you donate to nonprofit organizations through your company's donation matching benefit, if you have one of those at the company you work at, then you can also help the project that way too. Oh, thanks, Auntie. Geeks is asking for volunteers to join the team. Let me check out that whole deal there. There's a lot of organization going on recently in the Geeks Project, which is great. I kind of feel like Steve George probably has something to do with that, so this is great for him for trying to help out on that front. Let's see, codeberg.org/geeks/release planning. So official. There's a release planning repo. And look at there, it's Futurale. So I'm right. I'm always right. All right? I know these things. What the hell? Okay, sorry. For a second, I thought my computer turned off, but it was just the screensaver kicking in. Release 150 project. It's been a while since 1.4 got released, so it'd be nice to see 1.5 come out. Where is the request for help? Control F. Help. Contribute. Where is it? Maybe it's just this. Okay, this is good to put in here anyway, though, because they want to try to release 1.5. Which, I mean, you're pretty much already using 1.5 if you're pulled to the latest of the commits, but, I mean, sure. We need to have new ISO images with 1.5 on it, so good to release it every now and then. They've got a whole schedule here. Trev says, could have been David R. Wilson as president of the Geeks Foundation, but that would be someone else and not me. Sure, I could have tried to be president of Geeks Foundation, but why would I want to do that, okay? Why would I want to do that? I already can't even get a damn stream started on time. You think I'm going to do a good job leading the Geeks Foundation? I don't think so. I don't think so. Not going to happen. Don't even put ideas in my head. We know how that's going to work. All right. Geeks is on the path to release 1.5.0. God, I swear, I've been hitting stupid macOS key bindings all week. Command C, Command V, and I'm pressing the wrong damn buttons in Emacs now. It's driving me nuts. Take a look at the page and see if there's some way you can help. All right. Let's see. I like how you probably can't see that here. I see it in the chat on my screen. Auntie says, 5 years of stream. Congrats. This is a lot. And Trev says, it was definitely an entertaining downfall. Context is important. This was an entertaining downfall. 5 years of bad streams. All right. So that's some news. Any other news? Let me check what's going on the YouTube side. Hey, Dominic. Hello, Jason. Jason says, what's an appropriate amount to donate? I mean, probably $5-10 a month or something like that. Solemn Skater says, via FSF, you can choose the amount yourself. M01 says, use the Helium browser. Is it going to make my voice really high-pitched? Because I don't think I really want to, I don't want to have my voice high-pitched. I could do that right now to be funny, but then I would probably regret it. Dieter says, yeah, we're looking to volunteering, but that's great. You should. Thank you. Everyone should volunteer if they like. Alhunter says, would you say that Geeks has taken the role of the official GNU distro? No. I would say that it is the unloved child of GNU in a way, which is fine. I don't really think it matters that much. But I would say that Triskel is more than likely the GNU distro, because that's the one that the figurehead of the Free Software Foundation uses, as far as I know. Alejandro says, could this release be related to the drivers included in the kernel? I don't think so. Nakatani says, I'd volunteer, but I know zero about geeks. Well, now's the time to learn, buddy. Go watch a bunch of videos on this channel that are about 3-4 years old. Peter says, I still get quite a lot of value from geeks. Yeah, me too. I don't know, man. Like, you've seen me. I've tried to lead geeks a few times already, and it hasn't worked. I'm bought in. I'm a lifer now on geeks. It's just the way it's going to be. I don't think that it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be any different than that. Dave says, unless things have changed, Triskel is also what the FSF uses internally. Yeah, that doesn't necessarily mean it's the official of the GNU project, because GNU itself is its own thing in theory, right? And True News says they even ship Triskel on their fancy gift USB drives. Well, that also makes sense. Okay. All right, so look, 5 years of streams. My God. What the hell have I done? I usually don't have the level of commitment to stick with something for 5 years, okay? Now, I have stuck with many things for more than 5 years. Like, I've had jobs that lasted longer than 5 years. I have a marriage that has lasted at least twice that long. But for a thing that I have to like actually do just because I want to do it and because I've decided to do it and there's nothing like really keeping me to do it, I usually don't stick with something that long. So it's kind of unusual for me to stick with a project like System Crafters for 5 years. And I guess the first question you could ask is, well, why? Why would you do that? Why would you try to like have a live stream like once a week, at least once a week, for that long? Well, I mean, it would be a lot harder if it was multiple days per week for that many years. I don't think that I could survive that. But why would I do that? I don't know. I made the joke earlier about narcissism, but I don't think it's really about narcissism. I think it's more about like just the fun of like talking to people about things that I'm interested in. I've always done that. Like anytime I've ever found something that I was interested in talking about, I would just tell the person who I would think would be interested in it the most. There's a few friends that I have that I will tell about things I'm learning about, software or like bands that I find, music that I like, TV shows, movies, whatever. There's certain people that you have that you want to talk to about the cool things that you find. I think that's a pretty common thing in geek communities. You kind of want to talk about the cool stuff that you find. For me, streams and the videos were a way to do that. Just a way for me to try to put together my thoughts on why I liked a certain thing. And, at the time that I started the channel, it was all about Emacs and geeks. And it still is, really. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous that I'm still talking about the same thing this long. But that is sort of the problem that I'm having at the moment, is that I've been talking about it so long that I'm kind of bored of talking about it. And we need to find a way to make things a bit more sustainable. But more on that in a minute. The point being is that it's fun. I think it's a good way to kind of connect with people who are interested in similar things. And also to kind of take certain stuff that you're learning and share it with other people so they can also learn from it too. There's been value to that. I mean, the streams themselves, like I would say over the last 3 years, probably haven't been so good for educational value. They may have increased in entertainment value or maybe a communal value, let's say, like people come together every Friday. Many people that you see in the chat right now have been coming for multiple years, which I also think is pretty crazy. But there's value to sharing your interest with other people. I mean, to make YouTube videos, to make live streams, whatever. So that's really why I kept doing it for so long. And I don't really see myself stopping. I mean, things have been a little bit slow lately because my focus has been completely shifted elsewhere, but I'm trying to find an angle to stay engaged and continue doing it for longer. We don't know how long that's going to be, but at least for now, I would like to at least be doing it for another year or two or longer than that. And that really just depends on like what we decide to do next. So we'll talk a little bit about like what ideas we could have for what to continue doing. But I just thought it'd be, fun to just chat about the fact that things have been going on so long. What I did see is that it's kind of shocking how different I look now compared to the first Emacs from scratch video, especially because the headphones look stupid. You're not going to hear me speaking in this because the audio is not hooked up, but yeah, I look so much younger and also slightly bald. I'm balder now. That's the reason why I stopped sort of wearing a hat in videos, because geez, you don't want to see that at all. I don't want to see it either. But we've come a long way since what was it, September 11th of 2020, right in the middle of COVID time frame. I was bored. I was very interested in talking about Emacs to people, and just started making streams about it, and it kind of picked up. I think that it would not have been it wouldn't have gotten as much traction if it wasn't for the fact that everybody was stuck at home during COVID and bored. I think that was a time frame where a lot of content creators, gained an audience because so many people were just spending a lot of time on their computer or on their phone, watching videos on YouTube or watching live streams. I know I did. I watched a lot of gaming streamers during that time. So it was a good time to start that. I don't know if it's the same now. If you could say that it's a good time to start being a streamer, especially a video creator on this topic area. I know people do make Emacs videos now, or other sort of, Emacs/NeoVim/Linux type videos, and they gain quite a lot of traction. Probably they're using more strategic approaches to doing that than I am, especially since I'm not really releasing videos that much either. But it's interesting to see a sort of progression over time, especially, considering the factors that played into it. Let's see. How many streams have I done? How many streams total have I done? Let's see. StudioYouTube.com. Content. Live. Does it tell me the number? No. Oh, of about 304. So there's 304 streams, all of which are 2 hours plus, probably. I would say the vast majority are 2 hours plus. What is that? Accounting in Emacs ledger mode. Who gave me a dislike? Who gave me a dislike on that video? I'm gonna find you. I love going and seeing the videos where people gave me a dislike. There's like one person who's like, I don't like this. Why? What did I do to upset you? Did I just make a joke that you didn't find funny and you disliked it? What's this one? Okay, 12 likes. There's one dislike. Come on, people. There's just like a serial disliker going through the videos, just doing dislikes on whatever random one that happens to show up in their feed. Haters gonna hate. 593? I don't know. Why was monetization off in that one vid? Sometimes I forget to turn it on. And the ones that are the most recent, I just haven't turned it on purpose. Alternate Vet says, that was me. I believe you. I'm going to come kick your ass, buddy. No, I don't know. I haven't been turning it on. There's no point. I mean, there's not many views anyway, so what's the point of harassing people with ads if they're not going to see it anyway, right? Already 5 years? Hey, Benoit. Yes, it's been 5 years, and you've been here for pretty much the whole time. There's a couple people who've been here for pretty much the whole time. So let's see. Anyway, yes, there were 304. Can you go to the end? What was the average start delay? I don't want to calculate that, Gun. I don't want to calculate that. I got -4. Look, 4 dislikes on a How video. Why? That's like pure Emacs. Why? Okay, where's the Obsidian video? I got to see that one because that one definitely got a lot more. No way in hell. No dislikes on a video about another program that's not Emacs, but I got 4 dislikes on a How video? What did I say? What is this? Okay, that's 1 dislike. I want to see my most disliked video. Can I not sort by that? Emacs haters. I can't. God, why can't I sort by that? 97.2. Okay, what's new in Denote 3.0? I got 3 dislikes. Some of these don't make any sense. I probably made a joke about a topic that people are a little bit annoyed about, and they didn't like it. I think I'm funny, so I just say things that I think are funny, and it doesn't really go over well sometimes. They heard Helm instead? Maybe. Who knows? Oh, yeah, my backwards stream that I don't think that one's even visible anymore. Anyway, we're not going to be sitting here looking through the dislike ratios the entire time. I just thought it was kind of funny. There's got to be one that's really bad somewhere. I just don't know what it would be. Thanks, Left Bad. Where is Ashraz and his entourage? I know I've seen one that was less. You know, out of curiosity, let's go look at the videos real quick and see what that NixOS video's got. Yeah. 45 downvotes. That's not a bad ratio, though, right? 45 downvotes is not so bad. I probably had worse than that at some point. Where else did I give a spicy take that would be interesting to see the downvotes on? I don't know. Anyway, it's funny, okay? It's funny. It's funny when people downvote. You know, some people get kind of upset about criticism or feedback. I just laugh at it. I got a comment. Damn. I don't know if I want to show that. I don't think I responded to it. Anyway, somebody's just like, you speak quickly and clearly, but you don't have a lot of content in what you say. You just ramble a lot, and it would be better if you had more concise descriptions of what you wanted to say. And I'm just thinking, I'm sitting here talking for an hour to tell you something, and you're gonna come and tell me how to do the talking that I did for you for free. I don't know, maybe you go make your own video. I don't know. Is it reasonable to say go make your own video if you think that you don't like the way somebody talks? Do it the way that you want to do it. Otherwise, you know, just be happy that somebody bothered. Hello, Ashraz. Ashraz says, I think that's the first time I'm on a stream while I'm in my car. I hope you're not driving, okay? Don't be driving. Elephant Ergo says, this community makes me really happy. It's so nice that we can all come together and nerd out in this corner of the internet. Well, thank you. Elephant Ergo says, people generally feel like they're so stressed online. I don't get that here. Trev says, Elephant Ergo, I'm stressed in real life, but not online. The person who is stressed is Bergheimer. I got to have a talk with you, buddy. I've been seeing a lot of F-bombs in the IRC. You got to chill out, okay? You got to chill out a little bit. Too many F-bombs in the IRC. We're not doing that. You got to calm down. You're driving, but just listening. Be safe, Ashraz. Be safe. Let's see. What else am I missing here? Ozzy says there are trolls everywhere. Yes, I don't care. Like, I really do not care at all that there are trolls. They don't bother me. Trev says we need to watch some F-sharp clips. Damn. I don't want to... Look. I'll put one on. Just out of a desire to laugh at myself. Let's see. Ashraz, what happened to your streaming stuff, dude? Thought that you were going to be streaming somewhere. Did you? Can I sort by date? There we go. I got 135,000 views on the first F-sharp video. That's pretty good, right? All right. You got to see how young I look here because this was 11 years ago. No, it wasn't. It was 2016, wasn't it? 9 years ago. Okay, I can't do math. That's fine. Why do I need to do math? Yes. Much younger, not as comfortable on the camera, a little bit nervous. Anyway, go watch that video if you want to laugh. I guess it's okay. Anyway, what? That was a long time ago, though. That was like the first... Yeah, he doesn't look tired. No, that wasn't me. That was back in the days when life was easy. You know, I didn't have kids running around that I got to chase and get ready for school in the morning. Yeah, that's probably the biggest hurdle right now. Having kids you have to chase to get ready for school in the morning. And also, you know, cushy job, not much really to worry about in life. Situation's a little bit different now. Peter says maybe he wasn't streaming on Friday evening. I definitely wasn't. That guy looks stressed. The other guy or me? This guy definitely looks stressed, more or less. Anyway, how many dislikes did I get on this video? 49. Okay, that's not too bad. So, anyway, we're not trying to look at my YouTube analytics here. It's just funny. Ashra says, European traffic is not a joke. I cannot type while driving using voice input in my Android keyboard for the first time in my life. Don't do it, okay? Stop. Stop trying to type, okay? We miss you, Ashraz, but don't try to, like, endanger yourself. Already says, is F# Microsoft? Yes, it is. It's an okay language. Yeah, I agree, Trev. F# is actually pretty neat. It's like a better OCaml. It is... OCaml... If you try to actually use it, it feels kind of verbose. Maybe even a little bit more verbose than Haskell does, if I'm remembering it correctly. Okay. F# felt a lot more concise and clean to me, and it was pretty enjoyable to use. But it is .NET, and you know you basically use Visual Studio, or back then you used Visual Studio or VS Code. To develop it. So, I don't know, not great. Alternate Vest says Haskell is more elegant. Yeah, OCaml's cool. I think it generally has continuations and fancy stuff like that, but yeah, I don't know how convenient it is to write as a language. I've never written actual OCaml before. Maybe only like very, very little out of curiosity. Oh, Gunn says, did Emacs from Hell get any downvotes? Let's see. I'm curious. I don't even know how long ago that was. Was it like 2023? Where are we? Okay. And what year was this? That was 2023. Can I search? Search. Come on now. Let's actually see here. Did I mention it? No. Hell? Did I have show notes at all? Building the world's worst Emacs configuration. Thank you, Alternate Ved. Worst. Only two downvotes. Oh, wait, hold on. The other one. 4. All right, so that's not too bad. Emacs from Hell was best stream ever. I think there have been other funny ones that might have been a little bit more funny than that, but it was pretty funny. It got pretty ugly by the end. Maybe I should just restream that one day. It wasn't in the title. No, apparently not. All right. So what did we learn from that? Well, this kind of content doesn't get a whole lot of views. It gets some downvotes, but not too many. The FreeBSD one was a good one. I don't know, was it? It was kind of a joke. I think people got pissed on that one too. Ooh, look at that. 14 downvotes. Damn, people got mad. They got mad that I joked that I'm switching to FreeBSD. Was it the people who are fans of FreeBSD that got mad? Or is it the people who follow this channel that got mad? I really wish I could see which one is the most downvoted. That would be the best thing. I want to see the biggest downvote ratio. Yeah, whatever. Hyperland. Hyperland was funny. That was funny. I remember that one specifically being funny. That was probably the most I've laughed on a stream. It was just ridiculous. Everyone got mad. You upset everyone. I would like to do a stream once that would just piss everybody off. Just because it would make me laugh. But I don't exactly know what that would be. How could I piss everyone off? I can't like use a MacBook to piss everyone off because Summer would love it wherever she is. So what could I do to piss everyone off? Like do a stream where I just do everything in Windows Notepad? How would it work? It would have to be pretty bad. GK Sudo, hey GK Sudo says, did you do an OpenBSD live stream? I did one, didn't I? Didn't go so well. There's two of them, actually. There was taking a look at OpenBSD, and that one had a downvote for who knows what reason. And also crafting reproducible OpenBSD servers. Doing a Geeks Poll just before a stream, that'll just make me late, and everybody kind of expects that by this point. Do React content for a month. I'm doing React. I'm sort of like, you know, the snake eating his own tail right now. I'm doing React content for myself. I don't know, React content. Reprogramming Edlin and Scheme. I don't know about that either. Advanced Visual Studio configuration. Yeah, that would be pretty annoying. I mean, you're just looking at dialog boxes and ticking things in wizards the whole time. Oh, no. Okay, you're getting somewhere, Elephant Ergo. I think React content with a soundboard would do it. It's got to be those kind of like the rap song Hype Man. That kind of thing, where it's just completely obnoxious. Didn't DistroTube's video of him at a Trump rally get heavily downvoted? Well, that probably would if it exists. React is fine and totally boring. Well, we're not talking about React, the UI library. We're talking about just general reactions to content. You know, the cheap content where somebody just like, you know, records themselves reading an article or watching a video and then commenting on it, which is quite lucrative, actually, it seems. With the anime girls, wow, yes, that's the sound is just burned into my head. I don't think I ever really heard that sound that so much until I would watch PewDiePie videos like 10 years ago. React to someone programming in React. Yes. I don't really want to do that though. Nakatani says, sorry, my frame of reference for your channel is above that level of slot. Which level? Okay. Asher says, would that be pretty bad? You want to piss off everyone off? Just hand the stream over to me for one evening. Oh boy. That would be pretty interesting though. You know, I'm bored. I don't want to do a stream. I'm just going to let Ashraz take over and see what happens. Nothing could go wrong with that. Just a little manic schizophrenic dream. Ashraz talking to his two other alternate identities. Make a CSS live stream to fix all your websites. I mean, that might be like one that people would enjoy seeing. I don't know. Are you saying I need to fix my websites? What's wrong, Alejandro? What's wrong with my sites? Saying clickbait titles out loud over and over on a stream. Wow. Yeah, that's an idea. I kind of like that, actually. Not as a way to piss people off, but just as a kind of a strange video. Who's going to proxy YouTube chat? Nobody, because Ashraz is going to be reading it off the screen. And that'll be good enough. If you had a YouTube channel that was only just short videos of you dramatically reading clickbait titles, would that work? Like, just have shorts or TikTok videos of you just dramatically reading obvious clickbait titles just to maximize the amount of drama that you squeeze out of a clickbait title. Somebody give me a clickbait title. What's a good site that has clickbait? I mean, I guess any news site now, they all do clickbait. Does BuzzFeed still do clickbait? The Pope made clickbait a sin. Mukbang, yes. Mukbang is just by itself, the word is clickbait. Do people still do that? Why do they do that? Epic Geeks package install goes wrong real. So, did he literally make clickbait a sin? I mean, come on now. Fix all your Windows 10, 11 problems. Yeah, by deleting the computer or throwing it out the window. That fixes all of them real fast. Real fast. To Mr. E. What? Peter says, if I want maximal drama, I just open The Guardian. Wow. AI content is clickbait. Yeah, there's a lot of that going on right now. I mean, you can kind of go to a website and look at the text of an article, the way that it's organized, the way that it sounds, you just know that AI wrote that article. Benoit says, then you just get Geeks problems. Well, I would rather have Geeks problems than Windows problems. Because at least there's often something I could do about a Geeks problem. Anyway, so what's next? 5 years of doing streams. I mean, like, let's just take a quick little look through the list here. This is obviously in backwards order, okay? This is not in chronological order. This is in reverse chronological order. But it's just like a bunch of Emacs. The future of system crafters in 2021, yes. What did I say was the future of system crafters in 2021? Workflow demos, live preparation for videos. A lot of stuff here. Pretty much the same stuff that we've been doing the entire time, sure. It's obvious. Emacs packages, Geeks Home back in 2021. Embark, EXWM, StumpWM, why geeks don't use Geeks. Let's see, Logseek. I didn't get back to that one. First stream about Denote was in 2022. Erbsluft. Our tech-centric interface is better for crafters. That was a stream that was a good idea, and people liked it, and then the stream died, and I never went back to it. Let's see. Expanding the craft, hacking Geeks Home services, Nix browser, AI assistance in Emacs 2023. A new model for crafted Emacs. Benoit says, I wonder how many OG are still here. I think that the people that I know in the chat that have been around the longest are Benoit, Peter, and Gunn. And there are others who have been around for quite a while too, but definitely Benoit, Gunn, and Peter, and Alejandro. And Ashraz. Ashraz has been around since the beginning too. Because I remember that Ashraz showed up in the Discord one day and was very helpfully explaining things to me in certain areas. And that's how he became the producer, slowly over time. And GK Sudo actually has been around for a long time too as well. I remember seeing GK Sudo's name in the YouTube chat. The others of you who have been around for a long time, also raise your hand because probably you're lurking and I don't see you. Actually, Alternate Ved has been around for a while too, because I remember Alternate Ved showing up in the Discord in probably 2021 at least. Elephant Ergo says, I've been around, just not in the chat often enough. Probably not. Did we ever do more dot file detective? No. I should do that. The problem is that I realized it would be better to have the person online on the call while we go through their configuration, so I'm not just sort of bumbling through their config. Also, you can't really try someone's configuration very easily, so it's difficult to show a configuration without like actually showing it working. So I felt like I had to have the person on to demonstrate their configuration, and that's the point where I kind of fell off on that. Gun says, years upon years, I did wrestle to tell David to pronounce Erbstuf correctly. Yes, you did. I appreciate the help pronouncing German words because I don't know much about German. Let's see. Zach says, I'm not happy about how many of these I've watched so much time. I mean, probably they're not very heavy duty. You could be doing other things while you watch them, like wash the dishes or something. That's what I do when I watch a lot of podcasts and streams. And hello, Zach. GK Suda said, back in the EXWM days, that's right. Or use a Geeks container to demonstrate the doc files? Maybe, but that would require having Geeks packages for everything. Or a Geeks config. Let's see. Hype Skeptic testing Hyperland. Evil No More. I want to see what the downvotes were on the Evil No More video. I was probably listening to Faith No More a lot around the same time. And that's why I came up with that title. 3 downvotes. Okay, that's not too bad. Not too bad. What about the Hyperland one, though? Three downvotes. Okay, all right. That's not too bad either. GK Studio says, are we still on Matrix these days? There are people on Matrix in the System Crafters channel on Matrix, and I never go there, and I think most people here don't go there either. We've just been IRC only, mainly because the Matrix IRC bridge got shut down, and it didn't seem like getting a bouncer set up to work between the two was going to be very effective for us. So I just said, screw it, let's just stick to IRC. These days I'm using my own XMPP server as a front to the IRC server to have a bit better experience, but that's not something that's open. Maybe it could be if I hosted one for System Crafters, but. Did your tendons relax? From which stream? Oh, you mean from getting rid of evil mode? I'm so used to the Emacs key bindings now that I don't have any problems at all. I even switched to a new keyboard, and I don't have any problems like with RSI stuff. So the Emacs key bindings are doing just fine, even though they're very weird. Control N, Control P doesn't make a whole lot of sense, except if you use Emacs all the time and you get it burned into your fingers and your brain. Control N, Control P, Alt N, Alt P, that kind of thing. Then it makes sense, but for that, it just seems ridiculous. You mean a GNU keyboard? No, not a GNU keyboard. Anyway, random thought. How is a shift key? Did it improve, swap it out? Oh, you mean on the Mac? Excuse me. On the MacBook? I don't use the MacBook keyboard at all. Anytime I do, I end up having problems. I'm using the Happy Hacking Keyboard Studio all the time. Even if I take my laptop with me, like when I go take my daughter to piano practice, I bring my laptop, the MacBook, to do work, and I bring my keyboard with me and use the keyboard on top of the keyboard of the MacBook because I'm not using that damn keyboard. It's terrible. It is terrible. Okay, anyway, back to the original point. What's next? What should we do? Okay, because I feel like I've said enough about Emacs so far. You know, I've made a lot of videos and streams about Emacs over the years. I've learned a lot about Emacs. I've kind of plumbed the depths of Emacs for myself to the extent that I don't know if there's really more to discover. Sure, there's probably packages in Emacs and in the community that I could look at, but I've already stripped down everything in Emacs to the built-in stuff. I'm barely using Magic anymore. I'm not using Evil Mode. I'm not using Vertigo. I'm just using like stuff that's in the box for the most part. The only way to go from here is just to start adding things back again. I really don't want to do that. Experimenting, sure, but you kind of like need to use something for a while before you can give a good perspective on it. And I'm just kind of bored with that, I guess. I'm not bored with the Emacs as a user. I don't think I could ever stop using Emacs, but as far as making streams and content about it, it would have to be something pretty interesting, I think, to get me to do more Emacs stuff. Geeks is... There's a lot of stuff that I haven't done in Geeks yet on streams. It just requires a lot of prep, because otherwise we'll just be sitting here waiting. Because if you aren't prepared, then it might take you 10 minutes to build the derivation for something, and you don't want to make people wait while you sit here waiting for something to build. So a collab with Bash Bunny, maybe. So Geeks is a possibility, but like I said, it requires prep work. There's a couple things I would do with Geeks. So number one, which actually came up somewhere today. I don't know if it was in the chat in the IRC, but automated deployment to Hetzner Cloud VMs. I've done that recently. It works. There's a pretty decent process for doing it in a way that is not painful. See, Alejandro. Doing a stream on that could work. Setting up an XMPP server in Geeks could work. But aside from that, the rest is just like deeper and deeper kind of Geeks hacking, and I would probably prefer to make videos or courses on that, just to do it in a more organized way. Streams are kind of harder to do that stuff in. So yeah, Geeks is something that we will continue to look at here and there because I use it, but I don't really use it as much as I did. I mean, Linux in general, other Linux distributions, every now and then whenever I have an interest in looking at something, I will look at it, or just, weird Unixes, it happens. Nakatani says, basically, Emacs is perfect out of the box. It's not perfect out of the box. I mean, it looks awful out of the box. Trev says, Trev is using it, so it needs more attention now. No. You should tell me how your Geeks experience is going, and then we'll talk about it. Elephant Ergo says, I would love to see more courses. I would love to make more because it's fun. It's just very time consuming. No Namer says, how about a bit of a home server, home lab setup with Geeks like file server syncing for Geo instance? That probably should be videos, just because we've done that before a little bit. Like I've done a video on Forgeo and we didn't really get it working. Maybe I did it weirdly because I was doing it in a Geeks container and trying to run it on Debian. I think that was part of the reason why it didn't go so well. And probably these days someone's probably got a service definition out there for installing and setting up Forgeo. So maybe it's easier now to do that. But definitely some streams or videos or something on setting up your own Geeks server, like your own personal server that you run in the cloud, because this is something I did recently and I'm quite happy with it. I thought it was great. Worked out really well. But yeah, it requires preparation. That's the main thing. Elephant Ergo says, maybe we could do live coding, make more practical scheme applications. That is an area I want to discuss because I think that may be one of the things that could be interesting enough for me and have some value to people. Nakatani says, I would vote for impractical scheme applications. I would say every scheme application is impractical. Trev says, my second Geeks install is going well. Not going for hard O mode. What does that mean? And using a pretty basic config. My interest in Geeks was brought back to life after looking at how it's used in Bitcoin. Geeks is used in Bitcoin? Yuck. Just kidding. I don't know how it's being used there. Let's see. Zach says, I tried to install Geeks on Hetzner and gave up. It was a pain. It got Nix running a lot faster. Probably the experience of deploying Nix is much, much easier these days. But there was a blog post. The name is going to come to me in just a moment. Man. Sometimes when you're trying to call back something from your memory, you could sort of see the shape of it, but you can't see the thing itself. And you have to wait until it fully pops back in your head. I don't know if that's just a thing that happens when you get old and memory is just not as good as it used to be. Yes, I think now the data retrieval has finally succeeded. Geeks, Fabio Natali. I think that's it. Yes, there we go. So let's check this out. What was the post I saw this on? There is this XMPP self-hosting tutorial, and this might be where I got some of the stuff from, but I was looking at how to do this well, and his post was actually really helpful and showed how to set things up on Hetzner. Memory is still buffering. That's basically how it feels. It just feels like, okay, I see the loading spinner in my brain. I'm just waiting, because if I try to force it, it's not going to come. So I just wait. And then eventually, boom, it pops in. But yes, this was a good post, actually. I'll put it in the show notes. I don't know where. Post from Get Gopher says, Joe, what are you doing? I don't know, man. What are you doing? There you go. Anyway, so he has some other good posts on his site too that I thought were really nice. And the funny thing is, I think I heard from him during a stream or after a stream at some point recently, and he learned something from something I did that was inspired by his thing. So it's kind of a weird situation. Cal says, need a shortcut for spinning wheel thing on your head plus modem connection sound. Yes, I do need that. It does feel like the modem connection sound, just that kind of analog digital static that you would hear when a modem is doing the handshake to establish connection. It feels like that a lot, actually. DGR says, yes, a VPS or home service setup, especially for the central Git repository to keep all system SCM and home service SCM files be useful to people. I guess, yeah, that's what I did. I have my own really, really basic Git server setup, which literally is a Git user with the authorized keys set up so that I can SSH in as that user, and all the repos are in a folder that are owned by that user. So it looks like the kind of Git URLs you would get from GitHub, but it is just like using plain old SSH to replicate things across to the server, which I think is the basic way it's meant to work. It's just complicated by all the way that the Forge websites work. There's more complex ways you can set things up, like using Gitolite, which gives you like user control, repository management, etc. I have not gone to the trouble of doing that. I know that a couple people have done that, like Thanos has done that, and we haven't seen Thanos in a while in the streams. And I think Dave has Gitolite set up on his server, maybe. But you don't have to go that far. Yeah, old school Git forges. You literally just have a folder that you connect via SSH. What is Democratic CSI? What time is it? Okay. So, yes, talking about geeks in future streams is definitely going to happen at some point or another. But since I'm not really doing much with geeks at the moment, there's not a whole lot of motivation, let's say. Someone expressed surprise. Oh yeah, Gmas says, no Magit, why? Sometimes I just like to see how things are without the niceties of life. You know, I'm not really trying to be an ascetic or anything, but I did find that the VC Git interface inside of Emacs is fine. It works. If I need to do complicated rebases, or if I need to deal with a lot of merge conflicts, I'll go use Magit. But for the most part, for staging files and doing normal commits, even amended commits, I will just use VC mode. And it's been fine. Now, Katani says, user-friendly. When you try to make something user-friendly and you make it less user-friendly. Yes, that's right. Okay, so what else? Nakatani says Lazy Git is pretty good. Lazy Git is kind of amazing, actually. It's kind of like a terminal app that has almost a nicer interface than Magit in some ways. Peter says user-friendly. When you try to make things usable by normal people, but forget that you can't fix stupid. You can't fix ignorance without proper education, but sometimes people don't want to be educated, so. And also, it's, you know, time and cost prohibitive to educate people on things that they don't really have any business knowing. That's why you end up with simplified interfaces for people who don't really know much about computers, which is fine. I can't really blame them for that. Okay, so moving on to the next possible area. Let me just write this down first. Not so interested in continuing to talk about Emacs regularly, but occasionally, yes. Geeks is a possibility, but requires more prep and more practical use cases that I find, which takes time. So, live coding projects. I kind of feel like live coding projects is the sweet spot in a way. And that's one of the things I enjoy the most is doing live coding, which I've done quite a lot on this channel and on the Flux Harmonic channel. And I was doing it earlier this year before I started working on a job again. Streaming, what was it? 2 extra days a week, I think, for a few hours. And we made a lot of progress on the emacsPackages.com project, which probably isn't working right now. But I had to stop doing that because that was around the time I started looking for a job. So I cut that off. But if there are scoped down projects that we can kind of keep working on a week-to-week basis, that might be kind of fun. But we need to have a purpose behind them, I think. If there's kind of a thread to follow where it feels like there's a progression and enough can be accomplished in a single stream that it doesn't feel like just complete drudgery or boredom watching me fight with single module to get something working, it would be nice. Altervet says it would be nice to see Janet in action. Janet is a very nice language. Very sorry. I enjoy writing Janet. I think it's a very interesting looking language. And it ticks a lot of boxes that I find valuable. I would do more live coding with it. I just don't know. That's the thing. It's like I'm kind of established in the scheme area, let's say. And if I start deviating from that, I'm not sure. Trev says we need to set up a dream team for the Lisp Game Jam and you can be the captain. I have thought about that. I think maybe that idea was floated another time recently. That would be pretty cool, actually. The question is, how do we do it effectively so that it's fun and interesting? When is that? I should probably put that in the notes again. So, autumn Lisp Game Jam 2025. Let me go fix that link there. Boom, there. Starts on October 31st. I mean, the deck would kind of be stacked, I think, if a few of us got together and tried to work on something together, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Modeling qubits and geeks. I don't think I want to do that. join the Lisp Autumn Lisp Game Jam 2025, October 31st. Effectively fun, interesting. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Yeah. Halloween. Yes, thanks, Dave. Thank you to Dave Thompson and to Phil Hagelberg, aka Technomancy, for putting this on twice a year. This is a really cool event. Stacked Deck, that's D Thompson. Well, yes, Dave has a bit of advantage because he already knows like all the cool and fun things that are going on in the Scheme space. So he gets to use all of them for his projects. And he also has Christine to help make graphics and whatnot. Dave says, having a bunch of crafters make this stuff and highlighting that of what this community is up to would be cool. Yes, that is true, okay? One area really would be like talking about community projects. But that is the thing that, I mean, I can kind of give some ideas on stuff like that, but it needs to be a team effort, let's say, to find projects to do, to get people interested and involved. I know there are things that have been going on every now and then. Glenneth has done quite a lot of things. I don't know where Glenneth is right now, or if he's been in the chat. I have seen him on and off, because I haven't really been around much, so I can't really say that whether he's been there or not. But Glenneth has done a number of projects recently, and also I think he's working on something with Fade too. Fade's not here. Peter says, Crafting Emacs was a huge success. From a collaboration standpoint, I would say, yeah, it was a huge success. I think Jeff is still here. Crafting Emacs is definitely the most successful community project for system crafters to date. Because Jeff kind of took the helm on that and then got Judy and Yabo involved. Stefan. And they did a lot of really good work on that for the V2 release. And there's still things happening there. I see emails from GitHub about people asking questions and submitting PRs and stuff. Gunn says, I am using it daily. That's awesome. So yes, I would say Crafting Emacs is definitely the most successful community project there has been in system crafters community so far. But there have been other things showing up every now and then, so I would like to see more things happen. Did I just say that right? I would like to see more things happen? Okay. I think I'm having a stroke. Nakatoni says, we could try out a mini competition, then check out stuff on stream. Yes, well, we should do more of our own type of hackathon type deals. That's the thing that I keep thinking about doing, and I never really get around to it. And I'm really the wrong person to try to organize these things because I just like forget. So someone who is better at organizing things than me, I have one person in mind or two people in mind, could help to get some things like that going. And if you're interested in general at helping to organize kind of fun coding events, let me know, because it's something I want to do. I've been meaning to do for a while. It's just it's complicated sometimes. Helly says, Flux Harmonic come back. I wish. I really like doing the Flux Harmonic streams. That was a lot of fun. And it gave me an opportunity to write a lot of C code and do some game development. And that was, I learned a lot during that time frame. That was also the time that I started writing Mesh, which is my own sort of take on a scheme implementation inspired by the book Crafting Interpreters. I probably learned more about programming that year than I did in the last 10 years of being a programmer, just from being ready to do that stuff. And, you know, kind of picking C back up again and looking at it with fresh eyes. And also implementing a runtime for a bytecode compiled language. And kind of taking it further than what was in the book, too. I mean, I implemented delimited continuations and a few other things that weren't covered in the book. So I felt pretty good about what I did there. But it's just an impractical project. There's no reason to write another language like that when there's so many out there already. Janet being one of them. I think Janet is the reason why I stopped thinking about trying to work on Mesh, because Janet succeeds where I was trying to go with Mesh, which was to make a sort of self-contained, hacker-friendly programming environment that is a Lisp or a Scheme that has all the stuff that you need kind of built in, and it can be built into a static application because it's basically just C code in the core. So basically, Janet does everything I wanted to do with Mesh and more. So if I were to use a language like that, I would just stick with Janet, even though it's very different than Scheme. It has a lot of inspiration from Scheme in certain ways, but also has a lot of inspiration from Clojure and Lua. And I think that it makes it a more convenient language for a lot of reasons. Peter says, I graduated from crafting Emacs some months ago by cutting the last references to it. I think that is an awesome and unique concept of crafting Emacs. Yes. I don't know if it's really being used as much like that, but that was the point. The point was that you use it to get started, and then you gradually rewrite the parts that you want for yourself and keep only the things that you need, and then eventually you just get rid of all of it. A configuration that you're meant to get rid of. Not very common, I think. Peter says the goal to help people to move to the next level and then become superfluous. Yeah, I mean that's also what I would do with a pre-canned Geeks configuration, which I have thought about and worked on a few different times. Is basically set it up so that it can be really useful to get started fast, but then eventually you're going to want to do things yourself, and then the tools should be there to help you to bootstrap your own handwritten config and then move on from that. Let's see. I realize I've got the live stream playing in another tab on the computer that's doing the streaming, so that was probably wasting some bandwidth. And Nakatani says that is exactly how I use crafted Emacs. Good. Then the goal of the project was accomplished. Kudos to Jeff, Judy, and Stefan for all their work and help on that. I really appreciate them doing that. Gunn says, I sort of converted the setup to a literal programming project using org mode and Tangle. Yeah, you could definitely do that too. So, yes. Talking about organizing community projects, especially hackathons or jams. Doing our own kind of game jam would be interesting, but I really feel like the spring and autumn Lisp game jams are like the really the best ones to do, because it happens twice a year. It gives you enough time between the game jams to kind of think about what you did and try something different the next time. And then the 10 days that it gives you is enough time to make progress on a game yourself if you do it by yourself, especially if you do it with other people. So I probably wouldn't make my own game jam unless it was kind of a fill-in for other parts of the year where they're not doing the spring and autumn game jam. But game jams are great. I really think that the jam format is a great way to force yourself to learn something new or try something new. Because if you want to try a new language, or maybe a new game programming library, or just a new programming technique you haven't tried before, a game is a good way to do that. Now, games have a different type of programming model usually if you're doing an interactive game, like, you know, that has action mechanics or whatever. But like a card game or a guessing game or any other kind of game that doesn't require constant motion, you can use any kind of tool for that, really. So it's a good way to learn how to do various things. Like I've used game programming to learn like network programming when writing a MUD in C a long time ago. You know, writing a programming language specifically for the purpose of writing games, in interactive interpreters, graphics programming, pretty much anything you would want to do with software, you could probably make it into a game project, I think. Or maybe not like doing Docker deployments, but I mean, if you're deploying your game, then that's one way you could do it, I guess. How do you demo non-interactive stuff? Like what? Like a spreadsheet app? Non-interactive. Oh, you mean like a demo scene thing? Cal says just non-interactive stuff. How about demos? Just non-interactive stuff. Demo scene kind of things would be pretty cool. And if you don't know what that is, just search for demo scene. And it's kind of like the most trippy, tiny programs you could ever imagine. And a lot of the stuff happened in like the late 80s. Oh, the early 80s. And through the 90s and whatnot. But it kind of fell out a little bit. But it was kind of just a culture of hacks where people would get together in these demo scene parties. It was almost like a big LAN party, but people were just like programming the whole time. And they would do really cool graphics and multimedia applications, let's say, that usually have specific constraints, like it had to be within 8K or something crazy like that, or even smaller. And you would see the kind of ingenuity people would have to make a really interesting looking and sounding program. Peter says that was a thing in the C64 epoch and also the Amiga. I think the Amiga was kind of the biggest one. But yeah, that's a really cool thing that is worth looking at some of the videos on YouTube from some of the more popular demo scene videos. I don't know if they have that listed here, but anyway, it's some cool stuff. You should check it out. If you ever used pirated software back in the 90s, you probably saw a lot of demo scene things because there was a large overlap between software piracy and the demo scene. So usually if you had a cracked piece of software, you would get a little demo scene intro to your cracked software or to your key generator for software. I'm telling you all about piracy here, but I haven't done that in a long time, people. So statute of limitations and all. But to roll back to the original point that Cal was making, maybe having demo-like programs which aren't interactive, they're just like a cool little art project in a way, would be something cool to do. We had something for that, like with using Scheme for that or using other Lisp languages. It would be interesting. Cal says the constraints are built in just by being a C64 machine. That's for sure. No Namer says that would definitely be fun. Maybe with some kind of exotic limitations, like 500 characters max. That would be really hard. 500 character cap could be cool towards getting really hard on macros. Yeah, half of your character budget at least would go to parentheses, and I don't know if that's really what you want. I don't know if it's really what you want. So yeah, I mean, these kinds of events would be cool. Let's see, demo scene style events where we make non-interactive demos with arbitrary but interesting constraints. But I suppose we're getting out of the realm of system crafting at that point. We're getting more into like distraction crafting. But maybe that's not so bad. I don't know. To me, programming is kind of the most fun part of all this, and everything I've talked about on the channel so far has a programming aspect to it. I mean, obviously, Emacs is configured with a programming language, and you can write code in Emacs to automate tasks. And Geeks obviously is configuring your system with a programming language. So everything has really been about programming in the end. So just getting back into raw programming makes sense. It would be fun, especially if people were getting involved on the side outside of the streams and helping to push things along, which usually happens when I start doing stuff like this. Elvin Ergo says, I love the idea of community programming and development events. I think all this is a great idea. Having the streams be a pulse on what's happening in the community could be pretty useful, I think. Just requires some organization and having a rhythm every week to sort of see what's happening. You know, people just sort of working on things in their free time, because that's really all we're doing here. Peter says, how about comparing strengths, weaknesses of shells and their ecosystems? A shell is core to system crafters. Strangely, it doesn't really factor in that much for me. Like, I have to use shells a little bit, but very sorry. I don't really care which one I'm using. In fact, I find Z Shell a little bit weird compared to Bash in a way, because I'm just so used to using Bash. But it would make sense to do some comparisons. So we could do some other things like, comparisons of different kinds of software, like shells or file managers in the terminal. Rev says David will use the shell for npm install now. No, actually, I use Claude Code. I tell it to run npm install. Yes. Claude Code does all the heavy lifting. I just say, install packages, please. And that takes more words and more computing power than just typing in npm install myself. Dang it. Yes. I don't really use AI that much in my personal life anymore, but definitely at work. Why do all that? Why do all that typing? I do a lot of typing though. I mean, I'm typing a lot of descriptions of things I wanted to do, but I think the output characters is more than the input characters. Emacs AI integration is a wide subject. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, it's so finicky, and also people get irritated by it, or at least my perception is that people get irritated by it, and it makes me not want to really talk about it too much. So I don't know, but as it becomes more and more relevant in day-to-day programming life, it might just be something we have to cover. 10 posts a day about AI and Emacs and R Emacs. Well, I would not take Reddit as being a good indicator of the opinion of the wider Emacs community, because people on Reddit are very online, terminally online, as they say, and they kind of know what's going on in the world, and are usually a bit more flexible to what's happening. But if you're not on Reddit, then you probably don't really get that same kind of exposure, let's say. Cal says the bubble is about to burst. You know, the financial bubble, the financial bubble is definitely going to burst. Like, all this money being poured into AI right now is a little bit insane. But I don't think the technology is going to go anywhere. I think the technology will stay. It's just that the mad dash to continue pushing things forward requires way too much hardware and data center space. And eventually there's going to have to be a shrinking of the requirements of running AI models. Now, what that means in practice probably is that people will buy computers that are kitted out with hardware that can run the AI locally. But what does that mean for the proprietary AI providers? You're going to install AI as a program that you buy and put on your machine, or you're going to pay like a monthly subscription to run it on your own machine, which would be kind of insane if you ask me. But I don't think that it's really long-term scalable to be running AI models in the cloud like they do now, because it requires way too much computing power. I think that you need, yeah, like Nakatani says, needs smaller scale models. I feel like it's people will need to be running it on their own machine. And there's so many like chipsets now that have so many cores in them. And I have a laptop that's got literally 96 gigabytes of RAM in it. So we're getting to the point now where you could probably run AI models pretty fine on your machines. I think AMD has new AI-friendly chipsets coming out as well. So running either open source models or even proprietary models that you run locally, that really is a place where it needs to be, because the actual huge scale deployments of AI models in the cloud is just not going to work. It's honestly really stupid to me, because if you use something like Claude Code, and now I'm starting to talk about AI, if you use something like Claude Code often as a part of your job or as part of your personal projects, you will end up paying at least $100 to $200 a month for the privilege. and the usage limits keep shrinking. So your ability to do that is going to diminish over time, and the cost for you is going to increase over time. Now, I think that the AI companies would prefer that you continue paying them hundreds of dollars per month to use their stuff, but they're not making any money by doing that right now. If anything, they're barely breaking even, but probably not even breaking even. So the economics of AI as it stands won't work. What needs to happen is we need to be running the AI models ourselves locally, but have models that are good enough that can do things sort of like what we get now from the Anthropic models and the OpenAI models, because they are the best. So yeah, the financial side of the market is going to go kaboom at some point, for sure, because they can't keep scaling the way they are. It uses way too much resources and everything else. I think that's one reason why people have a big problem with AI, is just because of the way that it's being deployed. It just uses way too much energy, and a lot of other resources are being consumed to put together data centers for all this stuff. So yes, I would say that people gradually need to move the stuff onto their own computer, and the hardware is getting there to the point where people probably could do that. Trev falls asleep to AI talk. Wake up, Trev! It's over now. People love paying for services, says Trev. Yeah, I don't know. There is something about that. Like, you're abdicating your responsibility by paying for a service. Like, I'm just gonna pay for Spotify so I don't have to download MP3s anymore and keep them on my computer and back them up and sync them between my devices. It's so much better, which is exactly what I do. But yes, that's basically it. You're abdicating your responsibility by paying out the nose for whatever service that you want to use. Peter says, well, NVIDIA bought a stake in Intel. Yeah, it's all getting kind of blended together now. Peter says that is a short description of just enshittification. That is a normal evolution with AI. It's just enlarged in a bonkers way. Yeah. The stuff that is happening with AI is useful, okay? I think that AI in general, what it does is useful. It is not artificial general intelligence. It's just very, very elaborate completion engines, but it works pretty well. There's value to it, but it can't really continue the way it's going. The way that they just keep throwing hardware at the expansion of models. Here I go. I'm talking about AI again. It can't last, so they're going to have to do work to shrink these things down into a way that can be run on conventional hardware, more or less conventional hardware. Okay. Rev says filling an iPod with 100 gigabytes of pirated music was way cooler than Spotify. Yeah, that was cooler. But then you still bought the iPod. Slop completion engine. It is slop if you just let it go and do things on its own. But if you handhold it and watch what it does and tell it that it's wrong often, then it is artisanally crafted slop, which is quite useful in my opinion. You definitely can't just sit there and let it write things itself. No way. And I don't do that. Hey, Mjolnir. Mjolnir says, I need to figure out how to get my car scrapped. It's not worth repairing. Well, that doesn't sound very good. Depends on whether you want to get some money out of it. If you want to get money out of it, it's a little bit more challenging. But if all you want is get rid of your car, there's a way to donate cars, at least in the United States. I've done that before. I regretted it, but I did it because I was lazy. Gunn says, way back in the 90s, they were called expert systems where you could already book a hotel room. Yeah, that's true. There you go. Now, Kasani, I coined a new phrase here. Artisanally crafted slop. Someone is going to use that at some point. Somebody get Corey, what's his name on the phone? Man, another instance where the name will not come to my head. Spinning. What's his name? The guy who also coined enshittification. Trev says, are you ever going to make this advice stream on how to quit your job and make money by yourself? I don't think I'm the person who's qualified to do that. Thank you, alternate vet. It's Cory Doctorow. Vibe engineering. Is that what it is? Simon Willison is a thought leader in the AI space, so if he says it, then it must be true, right? Yes, thank you, Ed. Ed says Cory Doctorow, and Milner says Cory Doctorow. Ed has been around the streams for a long time too, I believe. I remember seeing Ed's name quite a while. Okay, yes, comparisons of different kinds of software, talking about community projects, vibe crafting. Man, we don't need to do that one, all right? Milner says, I don't know how Cory does it. He apparently has like 4 books in the works. Well, if you think about it, if you were already going to be writing blog posts or articles, you've got enough thoughts that you could probably put them into a book somehow. So, Gunn says hallucinating geeks libraries. That's exactly what happens. Or hallucinating Gaia libraries. He just makes a bunch of shit up that doesn't exist. And then you're like, why isn't this code working? Because the thing that it's trying to call never existed. So it has to invent it itself. That's a problem with trying to use AI coding with something like Guile Scheme. Because Scheme is so uneven, and there are many Scheme implementations, it gets confused about what is part of one Scheme implementation or the other, and it would just start like crossing things over, thinking that it's writing the right code when it's not. Alternate Vet says Cal Newport is a similar guy. Yeah, Cal Newport and Ryan Holiday, they're always just shitting out books. That is the industry accepted term for a person who is a prolific author. They're shitting out books, which sounds quite painful, actually. Trev says, I like one of his books, but he was just an academic guy. We're doing fine crafting for 5 years at least. We're doing vibe crafting. Yeah, we're doing vibe crafting, meaning you're watching a stream where a guy is trying to do something and failing, and apologizing at the end. AKA turd head. What? Anyway. Ostra says, off highway finally. Man, that was, I was so like, white knuckling my desk the entire time, thinking about you in your car, trying to type with your voice to say things in the stream chat. Literally just vibing right now. That's basically what we're doing. We're just vibing. I don't like that term, okay? I'm tired of that term. I don't want to hear vibing, vibe coding, nothing. I don't want to hear it. Why? Because I hear it too much. It's just lost all meaning. It just sounds creepy. Now I'm vibe watering. What else, man? What else should we be doing in these streams? Because there's one stream per week that's 2 hours long, and I can't do more than that. So whatever it is has to make sense in the time constraints we have. So Benoit is threatening Trev. I'm still mod here. Yes, you are, Benoit. You can kick his ass out if you want to. Morgan says, interview Dick Mao. I don't know, man. Maybe. Nakatani says, we should do exactly what this is. You mean this current stream? See, I feel bad just to have everybody here just holding court and running my mouth for 2 hours, but it does work. Gunn says Greek recipes. I'm not the expert on that. When I read Trev's message, that would be funny. Commercial Emacs exploration. I read it as commercial Emacs exploitation, which I guess it kind of is in a way, because the name commercial Emacs is kind of exploiting your mind to think that he's actually doing something underhanded. Peter says, how about including hardware system crafting? I would like to do that, and I've tried to do it a few times, but that also requires more preparation. And as you see, I schedule streams about 30 minutes before the stream time, and I probably figured out the title of the stream 5 minutes before that. So yeah, anything that requires a lot of prep is probably not going to work. Gunn says buacha or something. Yeah, buacha, I wouldn't know how to make that. There's a lot of things that I eat and that I like to eat, and I don't know how to make necessarily. Pasticcio is something that I know how to make because I've helped my wife make it a bunch of times, and I'm actually about to go eat some right now. If you ever heard of pasticcio before? It's basically like Greek lasagna, but I would say it's better. I'm gonna piss off some Italians now. Cooking with David, fish frying. No, man. If I try to fry anything on the stream, I would get burned, right? There's gonna be a big fire, and it's gonna be in one of those stupid video compilations that you see on YouTube channels or TikTok or whatever. Stupid programmer streamer burns himself trying to fry a fish. Mueller says, don't you need to do a stream with Prot? I mean, yes, that was supposed to happen a long time ago. I'm not good at like doing collab streams. Nakatani says, you can't piss off Italians. They're too chill. I don't know about that, man. I don't know about that. You want to piss off an Italian? Tell them that you like to put pineapple on your pizza. I think that will do the trick. Test it. Find an Italian person. Tell them you love putting pineapple on pizza and see what they tell you. Peter says, high-end audio. Explain the sound differences of different network cables. That could be interesting. Trev says, just hearing a lot of excuses tonight. You want to take over, man? You want to do this? You want to do my job? That's good. you can do it. Please feel free. Not that I'm the best or anything, but heavy is the crown. Hitting Calamaria on Ballers by the Pier. Oh, man. Yes. That is something that happens. Yes, there's a lot of excuses, but literally every System Crafter stream is filled with excuses. So how is it any different? The first 10 minutes of every stream is me giving excuses for why I haven't had a title or a stream topic or had a stream for some number of weeks. So, yeah, that. Also, breaking spaghetti. Yeah, that's true, Dominic, that if you say that you break the spaghetti noodles in half to make them fit in the pot, you will get yelled at by an Italian. Spaghetti bricks? That sounds safe. You mean like spaghetti bricks in a car or on a road bike? I don't think that's going to work very well. Excuse me. Ed says, that's someone who has never driven in Italy. There's a lot of anger on the road in Rome. There's a lot of anger on the road in Greece, too. Just anywhere in Greece, you're going to get yelled at, called a malaka, or any other number of curse words or demeaning expressions by people who are driving in Greece. It just happens. You know, it's okay. I've had so many old Greek men make hand gestures at me when I didn't really even do anything wrong. They just didn't like what I did. They thought that maybe I took their turn or something. That's fine. Whatever. Trev says, dude, take it easy with the swears. Benoit almost took me out for saying turd. Hey, it's my show, okay? But I did say stop it with the F-bombs in the IRC, okay? Somebody needs to go tell Night HK to chill. I'd do it myself, but I'm not there right now. Peter says, road rage, tilde 1 divided by distance to the Mediterranean. Yes, it's an inversely proportional. I don't know about that. It seems 1 to 1. No, wait. Yes, inversely proportional. The closer you are, the higher it is. Ashra says spaghetti breaks was completely explain my driving. All right. 23 and a third. Uh-huh. Is that real? No. So yes, what's next? Well, we're going to continue to have streams, obviously. The fact that many of the same people have been coming to the streams for so many years tells me that people like the streams. I like doing the streams, even if there's not really like a focus topic or something, you know, that might be worthwhile to talk about. People still come back. They want to join in. So it seems worth doing it. There needs to be something to do that is fun and engaging and doesn't have to require me coming up with a topic that is subpar because I haven't really thought of anything that week. Trev says, I hate watching. I'm hate watching. You're hate watching the stream right now. You're just trying to see if I'll say your name, Trev. I know why you're here, all right? You like seeing your name show up on the screen. You like hearing me say your name. That's why you keep saying mean things to me or trying to troll me. It's because you're trying to get me to say your name. I know what's happening here, okay? I'm not stupid. Alternative says, it's all Trev's fault. I wouldn't say it's all Trev's fault, but he has contributed to a lot of my pain and suffering over the last couple of years, so I will say that. Keep calm and craft on. We will do that, that's for sure. Trev says, I need a lot of attention. Well, obviously I do too. That's why I'm here. So, yes, I've also said in the past that I would like to have more people on the stream from the community, and I do want to do that, but that's another thing that also requires preparation. So I need to get better at like staying on top of things in general. Just hasn't really been my forte. Rico says, what's better, Linux or Windows for Qt Creator C++? I have no idea because I have not used Qt Creator, but I would guess Linux. I don't know. If anybody else has a thought on that in the chat, you can certainly say it. So I think that's about it, right? Not really any groundbreaking conclusions here. More just an acknowledgement that we've been doing it for 5 years now. There's really no reason to stop doing it. We just need to find a way to keep doing it in a sustainable way that works with the fact that I'm not using Geeks or, well, I'm using Emacs, but I'm not using Geeks as much during the day because I'm not able to use it at my job. Which Linux should a beginner choose? Probably Ubuntu. And the reason why I say that is not because Ubuntu is good, it's because everybody just assumes you're using Ubuntu. Isn't that right? Like, any software that you try to install like off the shelf for Linux kind of assumes you're using Ubuntu or at least Debian, but usually Ubuntu. Oh God, Gun. That's gross. Coming soon, crafters on OnlyFans, hatless. No, we're not doing that. That's gross. So gross. Nobody wants to see a bald guy. Unless it's Vin Diesel. Or The Rock. Unless The Rock makes a movie like the one he just put out and nobody goes to see it. But, you know. I think the point there was not for people to go see The Rock's movie. The point was for The Rock to get an Oscar for lead actor performance. Because people tend to do things like that. They will do things in the world purely for the reason they want to win an award. Think about that. Peter says, I would not recommend Ubuntu anymore. It gets too far from the norm. Ubuntu has become way too enterprisey. Michael says, as we sit and watch a bald guy. Yes. Trev says, Fedora plus Flatpak seems like it has the potential to be the main normie Linux. Fedora is much more polished, I would say. It's very polished. It's very nice. I used it for a while back when I worked at GitHub. For maybe a year. Can't remember how long it was, but it was good. I liked it. And Flatpak is the best when it comes to just like having apps you can kind of install from an app store that works across various different platforms. So yeah, Fedora's good, but it doesn't support deb packages, which you end up getting a lot of times for software that you just sort of download from places, but maybe that's not really as much of a problem anymore. Hey, Seek. Seek says, I'm very late today. That's okay. I prefer Linux Mint, but you're probably right about Ubuntu. Linux Mint is good too. Excuse me. Jesus, I'm very sorry. Linux Mint is also very user-friendly. I haven't used it in a while, though. Gun says, I recommended Mint to my wife. I installed Ubuntu on my wife's old MacBook, and it was fine. It didn't go so well. Alternate Vet says, what? Not a problem anymore with that. With what? Nagatani says, my 2 computers, I use infrequently. I have Fedora, works great with little interaction. Yeah, Fedora's good. Peter says, maybe keep Geeks as a second distro. And Peter says, Arch has become really solid. Yeah, Arch has done a lot. I know Benoit has switched to Arch over Nix. I think about Arch, it also is a little bit too mainstream now, in my opinion. I hate to be that guy who's like, oh, I don't want to use it, it's too mainstream, but it is kind of a little bit mainstream. And I find a lot of pleasure in using things that are off the beaten path. A lot of RPMs in official repository and in Coper. Oh yeah, RPMs are, oh, you mean RPMs for existing software? Yeah. It's a good point, Peter. It's mainstream, but it's solid. It is the option you can use if you want a highly customizable conventional Linux distribution without a bunch of cruft by default, with up-to-date software, and where you're not really being handheld. So it's good for that. Noobs feel safe in mainstream solutions. That's true. Cal says rolling distribution is a bit of a pain. It can be. It can be with Geeks, but at least the thing with Geeks is you can pin your channel configuration to wherever you want, and you can stick with that for a while. So that's another one of the reasons why I prefer Geeks, is just the ability to pin my channels. Peter says DHH endorse it with Omarchy. Yeah, though there's a lot of drama about that right now too. So that is not necessarily a good thing for all people. Gun says if you combine Ore with the Arch and old hardware, you get some crafting to do every 3 months. Maybe, yeah. Zach says, I made my wife use Linux 20 years ago when we first got married. We are now getting a divorce. I hope that's a joke. I mean, the divorce part. I mean, I know that the Linux part is a joke. That actually would be a great clickbait title. I installed Linux on my wife's machine. After 20 years, we're getting a divorce. Yes, the framework drama, which I only just heard about today through some random post on social media. Trev says, I'm still laughing at the bloated battery picture from Framework Forum last night. Which one is that? Tell me about that, because I actually had the same problem. I need to send it back. Oh, and here's the funny thing. Today, Framework sends out an email to Framework laptop owners like, hey, great, there's this new update out for the BIOS for Framework machines with a new feature, which basically does battery management correctly, so that if you have your computer plugged in all the time, the fucking battery doesn't swell, which is exactly what happened to me because I have my laptop plugged in all the time. So what they're saying is the Framework BIOS didn't do what it was supposed to do, leading to batteries exploding, or almost exploding. Not really exploding. Okay, I don't want to say that. Batteries swelling because you leave your laptop plugged in. Yes, people have the same issue, and they just released a software update to quote-unquote fix it. You're not supposed to let it charge to 100% and stay charged at 100%. It's supposed to be lower than 100%. At least this is what I learned when I looked into the issue, when my laptop, the body, the chassis started expanding. I'm like, what's going on here? Then I realized it's the damn battery, so I took it out. I've basically been using the Framework without a battery for probably 3 weeks now. Just leaving it plugged in, never taking it off. It's not a laptop anymore. It's a desktop that looks like a laptop, and it's always plugged in. Leonix called it a pillow battery. Someone else, I don't know if it's an IRC or somewhere else, they called it a spicy battery or something like that. Spice pillow, yes. Spice pillow. It is quite spicy. You never know when it's gonna flame up and burn you. Let's look that up. Framework battery is puffing up. Swollen battery, battery swelling. Framework battery is puffing up. Yes, GK Suda says Framework comes with a free spicy pillow. This is exactly what mine looked like. The last cell started swelling. Hold on. So the fact that I have left it unplugged for a while, I think that it has gone down. Maybe it would be safe to use again now that the charge has gone out from not being plugged in. So it doesn't look puffy anymore. But it did look just like that. It did look just like that. So if the new BIOS solves that problem, hell no, I'm not slicing that thing open, dude. Are you really trying to kill me? You're basically trying to weaponize this framework battery, turn it into an IED to blow my face off on a YouTube stream. They ain't gonna happen. Cal says don't use it. Maybe I shouldn't. Put it in a metal bucket with sand. Cool it down with an ice pack. Don't puncture with metallic tools. Don't ask how I know. I'm not bothering with that. There ain't no way. Morgan says, when batteries are shipped, I think there's a special arrangement because of the fire risk. I don't think you will be able to return a battery that looks like that because no courier is going to risk it exploding. Yes. If it gets punctured at all. Anything on the Framework 16? I don't know. Hey, Judy. Judy, you've been saying things and I just realized it's you. So, hey, Judy. Okay. I think the time is up on the stream here. He's holding a ticking time bomb. I kind of was, wasn't I? That was a little bit dangerous what I was doing. If you puncture, please video. I'm not doing that. I'm not puncturing the battery, dude. I don't know how to get rid of it. Work happened. Yes, work always happens. This happens to me every week. Okay. So, that was fun. That was funny. I mean, if people would be interested just to have us ramble every week, that's also fine too. I just need to find a way to have titles for the streams. Benoit says it was an accident when trying to unglue an iPhone battery. Just gonna say I threw it outside. Yeah. Please do not puncture your. Daphne says, please do not puncture your lithium batteries. Thanks. Yeah, no, I don't want to do that. You will die and it will not be fun. I don't think dying in any circumstance will be fun, but definitely being immolated by a battery would not be fun at all. I think nobody wants that. Maybe a screen grab of that will become an image for whatever the future Rage Against the Machine album would be. You know, they've got the one from the early 90s where the monk setting himself on fire. The one from, you know, whatever year that Zach De La Rocha decides to sing on another album. We'll have someone puncturing a battery and dying by being immolated. I just made that up. Cool. All right. So I think I worked through some issues here today. Not really. I don't feel like I have any better idea of what I'm going to do next week. System Crafters Hangout 2025 1010. That's basically what it is. Yes. I'll just be really, really lazy. I'm just going to have a thumbnail that has like the DVD idle screensaver logo. So what's next? I don't know, dude. Nobody told me. I was expecting you to tell me. Why didn't you tell me what's next? I'm only here to have you tell me what to do, okay? I'm the dancing monkey. I'm the one that's putting on the show, but I got an empty head, okay? I got nothing in there. So you got to tell me what to do. I'm kidding. They showed how they deal with lithium car battery fires by dumping them in a container with water, and they still burn for 24. Shit, that sounds crazy. Yes, we're not playing with that. I better get this battery out of my drawer here, I think. Okay, well, thank you all for being here today. Really appreciate your time and attention. If you have other thoughts on what you would like to see in future System Crafter streams, please leave them in the comments or on the forum or in the IRC, where I probably won't read them because I'm hardly there. I'll try to be there more often. I'm sorry, Trev. I know that you miss my friendship. I miss yours too, buddy. But, you know, sometimes I get a little bit busy. Benoit says, well, then keep entertaining us. I'll try. If nothing else, I can just keep rambling. Because that works out pretty well, I think. Anyway, hope you all have a great weekend. And thank you very much for being here. And until next time, happy hacking. See ya.